Welcome to the Key to Growth podcast, Home Services Marketing Unlocked, with me, your host, Jen McKee. Every week, I sit down with top marketers in the trades, from the brains behind $100 million companies to those scaling from 1 to 3, even to 10 million, breaking down exactly how they got where they are and uncover the secret to their success. If you're ready to grow your business and get real, actionable insights, you're in the right place. Let's unlock the key to your marketing success starting now.
Keyheart Marketing specializes in Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube to build your brand awareness or drive leads using social media ads. If you're ready to elevate your social media, go to keyheartmarketing.com or follow us on social media. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Key to Growth podcast. I am your host, Jen McKee, and I haven't been doing a lot of recording lately. I've been super busy, as I'm sure you've heard on every single episode, talking about the conference that is coming up. But the conference is now about to be done, or at least for this year, which I'm so excited about. And I'm also excited to be recording an episode that's going to be released next week during our conference week. Even more excited to have Kaela Reedy as our guest today because Kaela has a huge transition, and this week is the beginning of her transition. So we've got the conference going on. We've got Kaela in a completely new position, and we're going to be talking about all the greatness that Kaela brings to the trades. But let's start off just to introduce yourself to anybody who may not be familiar with you.
Absolutely. I'm Kaela, and I am the founder of Elevated HQ. Our goal is to help trades companies achieve operational and strategy excellence as their business strategy to achieve the highest multiple, or at the very least, have less owner dependence so that owner can also have a life, not just be a business owner.
Yeah, I love that. So, of course, like I said, this is a big transition. So tell us where you transitioned from and how you got here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was the integrator and general manager at Pink Collars, which is a call center for the trade. We got to see a lot of different contractors, and being their first in line customer service experience, we got to see kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly of some of the systems, some of the operations, things that worked really well, things that didn't work so well. And through all of that and going to all of these conferences, and you have all these really big PE guys on stage saying, hey, sell me your company, it's going to be worth $20 million. And the reality is that some of them are, and some of them are not, because some of them may have great revenue, but all of the ideas are stuck in the owner's head and they don't have systems and processes. And we saw that at Pink Collars, and I just saw the gap, and I was like, somebody needs to be like a middleman between these aggressive people up here that are trying to get businesses for as little as possible and grow them, and then the guys that have actually built and done the thing. And if they just put a little bit more effort into their culture or into their systems, their multiple would increase a couple points, and that can end up being hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars.
That's amazing. So I sense that a lot of it is rooted in EOS. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, firm believer in EOS. I'm an EOS integrator. Um, a lot of the business strategies, whether it's EOS or something else, is 90-day sprints, right? So that's very much incorporated into how to achieve goals and help owners measure with the scorecards, metrics, KPIs, very much EOS related.
I heard a podcast, I think it was like a TikTok clip of it, where somebody was talking about 90 days being too long and shortening it into 60-day sprints. Have you ever thought about that?
I don't think that you can get real traction and get the real results with something shorter than 90 days. I think you need to stick with something for a minimum of 90 days to get the true results. Because sometimes you can do something and it initially has really great results, but then will kind of slow itself down. So in 60 days, do you really have enough time for that?
I actually meant 30 days. He was thinking months. He was doing like month-long sprints.
Yeah.
Um, what I thought was interesting, and so we've run on EOS for a little over a year now, and there's definitely some rocks that like aren't quarter-long rocks. You just like end up spending time on them and you either finish them early or you start them late. And so in those cases, I do think sometimes we it take too long. And even though a lot of our rocks are implemented as we're doing them, like a lot of them are like not black and white, like,
Right.
rocks. That's why you
Yeah.
create, milestones and what done looks like because it's like, okay, so we're wanting to revamp our training for our account managers. But then, like, once you've, like, revamped it, then you're gonna have to do it again at some point, so it's always, like, evolving. So I can kinda see how sometimes things only need 30 days, and sometimes things don't need to be rocks, and then, like, the conference is 1,000% a rock because it's, like it's a massive
Yeah.
moving, thing, and it actually does have an end date, so that's
Yeah, and that
exciting.
might be even more than a rock, right? Because that's taking you more than 90 days to go and plan and execute.
So
Um,
interestingly, our yearly planning session was December 8th,
mhm.
and then our quarterly is right after the conference. So it ended up being like
That's
that
pretty
4 months.
awesome,
It was
yeah.
like it was like a 4-month
Mhm,
time that we had right there. And so that was our rock because we didn't want to do our quarterly before the conference because it just felt
mhm.
like a lot. And so we
Absolutely.
purposely made it right afterwards, but it's like, it really was a rock.
That's
But
awesome. Like, and to accomplish all of that within that short time frame is awesome, right? Because people
I
spend
didn't do it alone.
literally an entire year.
That's why we have a team. But then, I think,
Absolutely.
there's other teams that have, like, specific event teams or conference teams, and that they
Mhm.
work on that all year, but they likely don't just do one event. They do
Right.
multiple events and then, like, a big event or maybe, I don't know, all kinds of
Mhm.
things. It's been an interesting process. Anyways, enough about me. Okay, so what is it one of the things that you think I mean, so when you go in and you start looking at, like, how to improve the multiple, are you immediately implementing EOS if it's not being implemented, or you're just, like, using the tools that you've used in EOS to help get to where you wanna go?
Yeah, so it's a combination of different things. So, yes, EOS is some of the things like very much believe in the 90-day sprints and measuring and KPIs because if you're not measuring, you don't know anything. But there are a lot of other foundations. Like I also believe in the science of scaling, which is setting bigger, basically impossible or unrealistic goals because what you do to achieve an unrealistic goal is very different than what you would do to achieve a small goal, right? So that's kind of where I see the biggest difference. And it kind of goes along with what you're saying is I want your rocks to be mostly impossible so that you have to stretch and make your filter higher so that you stop doing all the stuff that's not going to move the needle and stop listening to all the noise and the things that don't actually matter.
Yeah, I read that book too. Well, I read most of it, and then I was telling somebody about it, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, that's that book where that guy got all those people to convert to be Mormon." And I was like, "That was such a small story in the book, I didn't even think about that." But
Yeah.
I was like, "What?" And then I started thinking about it, I'm like, "Oh, you're right. I wasn't thinking about that." I just thought I mean, yeah, he did use that, and there's a lot of marketing type things and that people use
Mhm.
for all kinds of ways of getting people to commit to things, including
Yeah.
religion. So, I did think that was really interesting, but I like, the
Yeah,
last
like
time I
his
brought up that book,
impossible goal was to like baptize X amount of people in X amount of
He
time.
was
Yeah.
getting like 2 people and his goal was 100 and
Mm-hmm.
he was able to do it. I did find that book incredibly inspiring, and it was actually something that I brought to my team for them to read as well, because not only was it the idea of setting big goals, like the conference was a big example of that. Like it really has been this, like, what is it, the biggest thing that you could possibly do that you've never done before. And because of it, we've had to tighten up so many other things. There's like so many other things that have happened that have contributed to Keyheart marketing from the conference goal that we set. The other thing that I think is really great about that book is this idea of like simplifying rather than overcomplicating things and figuring out like what the simplest offer is and the simplest solution to this problem that you're solving. And that was
Yeah.
something that we did too, because we had it all of these, like, you could do this, or you could do this, or you could do this, or you could do this. And now it's like the only way that you can work with Keyheart marketing is if you start here
Mm-hmm.
and then move up from there.
Right? Because you had to make your floor because all the rest of it is time sucks and they're not on the same path that you're on to get to that goal. And I think when you frame what you do and what you're working on from the goal, it just changes all the things that are actually important in running
Yeah.
the day-to-day stuff. And like you're saying, simplifying, like pick the one thing you're good at. Don't try to be the Cheesecake Factory and have 20 million things on your menu.
People like the Cheesecake Factory.
I know it is good, and their cheesecake is one of the best. But
That's
their
funny.
menu is
But I know what you're saying.
overwhelming, right?
Yeah, it's
Like,
like BJ's too. We go to BJ's and
yeah.
my daughter's like, "I'm still not ready to order." I'm like, "Please, you always order the same thing."
Yeah, like, if you can just be good at the 10 things that your people are awesome at, I bet your reviews would go up.
That's so interesting. So I wonder, from a trades perspective or home services company, like, what would that look like? Where do you think that people are overcomplicating, and what would like simplifying that look like? Or even what would big goals, like, maybe let's look at both sides of that book and how it's implemented.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I actually went to a conference that Dr. Benjamin Harding put on, and there was people in the trades that were practicing his exact methods and all of that. So I know that it works. I know that it's scalable. Some of it is as simple as revenue goals and how, like, if you are at 1 million, what it takes you to get to 2 million is very different than what it takes you to get to 10 million, right? Like, those are very different filters. And if you're trying to just grow and get to the 2 million, you're gonna accept a lot more stuff, right? Like, you're gonna go to every job that you can possibly get because you're just trying for that incremental growth. Whereas opposed to if you are trying to get to 10 million, your customer looks a little bit different, right? Like, you're probably going to need to get a little bit more involved in commercial, or you're going to need to open another location or whatever that is. But those are very different marketing strategies. Those are very different operational strategies.
I was gonna say, I wonder what the marketing would look like if from 1 million to 2 million versus 1 million to 10 million. I feel like it would be a lot of, I think for me, it's like that one to many. So how can you get connected with it or in front of many people who trust you versus, and it's really like borrowing other people's audiences. So I think you're
Absolutely.
right. The like acquisition is a really great way because you can immediately have the trust of these people who have already worked with this company in order to quickly bring on more revenue. I don't know, what other ideas do you think?
Or even like, if you have the trust of your community and you're a really awesome HVAC company, why not add plumbing in there, right?
Correct.
Like, let's add
Mhm.
electrical to that. Let's keep building on the brand and offer more.
Yeah, I think so too. I just was talking to somebody who that is how they first filled out plumbing as they added it, of course, is to start marketing to those people. And that's a really good reminder. Like, if you have added a new trade, how are you marketing that to your existing customer base? Are they familiar with it? And it's interesting because as a marketing company, like we remarket to our warm audience all the time. And our warm audience includes people who have connected with us on social, people who have purchased things from us in the past, who have talked to us to work with them, people who are a part of groups that we have that we are vendors and like partners with it. But it still doesn't mean that they know. So there's like so many different times that you have to get in front of people, them have the opportunity to get to know you, get to trust you before people are really even see the things that you're sharing with them.
Mhm. And as you grow and evolve, all of that also changes, right? So the company that you are today is not gonna be the same company that you are in a year, 2 years. And to keep the marketing and to have your audience know that you're also growing and expanding and doing all of the things is so important.
I'm curious of what your thoughts are in the like simplifying part for the trades. So do you think that simplifying operationally, I mean, looking at it from a offer standpoint, like would that be we only do maintenance, we only do installs, we only do installs over a certain revenue amount? Like I know you mentioned commercial, but there is such a massive difference like operationally between commercial business and residential business. So what would that simplification look like from like the 10x or
It would
science of scaling?
Mhm. It would depend on your goal, definitely, right? And the company and what resources they have available, all of those good things. Um, Maintenance agreements are amazing in every single way that you look at it. It's reoccurring revenue, it's customers that you know are gonna choose you. They're not gonna call around to 10 other people. PE loves maintenance agreements.
When you're looking to sell, it
Mhm.
creates you have more of an asset.
Absolutely. Like, you have a customer base that is loyal, and that goes a long way. So, maintenance agreements are very important. I don't know that I would limit. It's hard, right? Because in HVAC, you could go into somebody's house and think that it's a really small job, and then it turns into a $20,000 ticket. Um, and I think simplifying it for the customer, right? Like, give the consumer a couple options on what they can do, explain them, but simplify it like that. Like, don't give a customer 20 options. Give a customer 2 or 3 options and maybe include financing in that if one of them is bigger. So simplify it and make it easy for the customer to buy from you. And I would simplify it that way instead of limiting the services that I offer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think some other things to think about are like simplifying the systems operationally to bring clarity. And one thing that really comes to mind is Ellen Rohr's her budget sheet. I feel like that is such a simplified way of looking at revenue minus expenses and understanding where you're sitting on a daily basis using a DP report so that you really know and have a good eye on your sales every single day. I feel like that kind of thing would be helpful.
Yeah, your P&L should drive every decision that you make in the business, and Ellen is so good at simplifying it and helping people understand it, right? Because you can have a software spit it out, but if you don't actually understand what the numbers are telling you, it's not gonna help. And there are some, like, little things, like, I was talking to, another friend of mine in the business, and he said that he looks at the P&L, and if the gas charges are much higher, that means that your dispatchers are not doing a good job because they have your guys running around and not, uh, optimizing the routes and stuff like that. So your P&L is more than just, "Are you profitable?" It's telling you where the gaps are in your
Yeah,
business.
diagnostic.
Mhm.
So if somebody were to come to you, and I know you said that you're helping people get more when they sell. Do you help people who are just looking to grow in order to maybe not retire, but remove themselves operationally from the business?
Absolutely. So, owner dependence is one of the biggest things that we help companies with, whether the owner wants to get out completely, whether they want to one day transition it to their kids or family members or to sell, right? I think that exit planning is kind of a weird term, right? Because everybody wants to exit at some point, right? Like at some point, you want to retire, relax, sell, whatever it may be, hand it down to your kids. But exit planning isn't what you do when you actually exit. Like it is your strategy and your business strategy today. And then that gives you options. There are a few uh things that can really throw off companies even when they have no plan to exit or didn't expect to. But if there's a death or a divorce, or there's a few other things called the 5 Ds. But those things are unexpected. And I tell my team at Pink Collars all the time, I would say, what happens if I got hit by a bus tomorrow? Like, are you guys going to be able to do this? Or what if me and so got hit by a bus holding hands?
Yeah.
Can the company still function without us? And that's
Yeah.
super, super important for everybody on the team. Um, because if I got hit by a bus, what happens to my team? I care about that. I want my team to still have jobs and revenue and to be able to go on and have a great life with or without me.
So what do you think the first steps are? And like, how do you know, number one, if your team is capable of moving on without you? And then what are like the first thing that you can change?
Yeah, so when we take on a client, we do a pretty aggressive 6-week evaluation. I'm going to call it an evaluation where we do about 6 to 8 workshops focusing on different things, some with a team, some with just the owner, some with just the leadership team. Um, but it's really evaluating where the company is, where their value is today, what best in class is doing, and then the gap there, right? Like, can we improve X, Y, and Z to get closer to the best in class? And then also from a personal standpoint, like as an owner, can you exit? Like you may want to, but can you? Can you afford to sell? And what does that look like? If you do sell, what are you going to do? Because a lot of companies that sell, then the owner is left without their company, so they've lost their, like, normal day-to-day schedule. They don't have the conferences to go to. The people that they used to talk to every day aren't around, right? They're still doing whatever they're doing. It's just very different, and they kinda can lose their identity and their purpose, and I wanna make sure that we have a plan for that too. It's not just about the company and how that works and getting you top dollar for your company. It's, "Hey, that's great, but what are you gonna do after this?"
Yeah, I think that's really realistic. I know that you're exactly right. I think that's the biggest thing. I even just posted on Facebook the other day, like, what am I going to do after this conference? Because I already know that, like, mentally, I'm going to really struggle. And I think that's good self awareness, right? Like, we know
Yeah.
who we are at this point, but I know after having 4 months of like planning, reaching, doing, and when you are exiting your business, even exiting the day to day, even moving from the person doing it all to the person managing it all to the sitting strictly in a leadership visionary position is so they take like different it's all different levels and they take
Yeah.
different like skills and it's hard to not jump back in.
Mhm, and you have to be as an owner or operator, hopefully not an owner and operator, you have to be willing to also grow yourself, right? The company that you have today is awesome and you've built it there, but the company that you're going to have in the future needs somebody different. And that's okay.
Mhm.
And that doesn't even have to be you. Like, you don't have to do it. You can go who, not how, which is also amazing. Figure
Yeah.
out the people that can do it and then actually let them do it. Because I think that's where you got hung up. You know, a lot of great people and you have a great team, but letting go of the control because what if it's not exactly how you would do it is super hard
Yeah.
for people. It's hard for me.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so what is one system that every growing company needs?
Specifically in the trades, you need to map out your customer journey first and foremost. Like, what happens when the phone rings? What happens when the Yelp lead or Thumbtack lead comes in? What do you do with it? What is your process around that? Because without your customers, you don't have a business, right? What do your CSRs say? Are they selling memberships? Are they adding value? Are they rushing through the conversation just to move on to the next one, right? Like, you need to have all of those in place. And then hopefully your CSR team is super awesome and they set up your techs to go to the job. And then when your techs get there, they're like the real life salesperson. So what is their process? Do they have a thing where they inspect 5 other things while they're there in order to drive up the ticket price? Or are they nervous and they just go do their job? Are they happy where they work? I think culture is also a huge thing, and it will affect your company value, which is kind of crazy, but everybody's had somebody come into their house or go somewhere and you know that they're just not a happy person doing what they're doing.
Well, and
And it
vice versa. It feels so good to like work be around somebody who is really happy in their job.
Yeah, and it makes you wanna talk to them and engage with them, right? I love to be the person that will ask for a manager in order to tell the manager, like, "Hey, this person is really awesome." Everybody has a bad day, and I'm sure gets a bad report here and then, but how many people take the time to be like, "Hey, this person was actually great." Um, and I do that with, like, hiring too. Like, if I'm on a call with somebody and they have great customer service, like, I wanna recruit that person. That person's amazing.
Yeah, I love that. What is one mistake you think that people make that really kills growth?
Overcomplicating things. Your processes should be simple. You need to have them, but they also need to be simple. Nobody's going to read through a 20 or 30-page document to figure out how to do something in Service Titan, right? It's just not going to happen. They're going to wing it, figure it out. Yeah, just simplify the processes and make them easy for people to follow.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. What is one thing that owners wait too long to fix?
Owner dependence. I think that that's one of the biggest bottlenecks that we see across all industries, across all companies, right? Is every decision has to go through the owner, or you can kind of graduate and then only decisions that are this have to go through the owner. But you need to build the team underneath you that can make those decisions, and you need to be confident that they're going to make the same decision you would.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's
yeah,
good.
owner dependency is really tricky because it's their baby and they love it.
How do you think that somebody can get out of being so owner dependent?
You're gonna have to let go a little bit, and you're gonna have to figure out who, not how. So instead of you figuring out how you're gonna do it, figure out who you can delegate it to.
EOS really helped me with that.
Mhm.
I think making clear the accountability chart and being really clear of like what the roles in the company are and who can be in those roles, and then what their responsibilities are in those roles. It made it so much clearer for me.
Mhm, and then you know if people are doing a good job or not because you're measuring KPIs every week. It's
Yeah.
not a surprise, it's not, "Oh, man, I turned away and none of this got done." Like, the things that matter are getting measured. So you can rest assured you can catch it early if things are
Mhm.
off track.
Yeah, so good. So at the we're coming to the end of the podcast. And at the end of the podcast, we always ask everybody the same question. So you're on the Key to Growth podcast. And the question is, what is it, the key to growth?
The key to growth is to simplify and have systems. I think that those are two of the most important things that you can do to grow and be sustainable at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. So you're here with Elevated HQ.
Yes.
Tell everybody how they can find you now.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can go to elevatedhq.com. You can also email me directly at Kaela@elevatedhq.com. My contact information is also all on the website. I would love to chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited for you. Congratulations on this next chapter.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. And I can't wait to be at the growth conference next week.
Me too. Thank you.